Hey everyone, welcome to a sermon sidecar. If you're new to these or you need a refresher, this is where we've got a thought from the message that either got cut ahead of time because it just distracted a little bit too much from the main thrust of the sermon, or it was a follow-up question that was like, you know what, this is a really good follow-up to this. And so this is actually the first of two sermon sidecars we have this week because we've had a couple of really good questions, which is awesome. This first one is one that wasn't necessarily specific to this week, but over the last couple of years, I have had so many conversations since becoming a pastor about this related to a specific point in the message. In the message, we were talking about, look, hey, bad theology leads to bad interpersonal relationships. And, you know, you see that it talks about constant friction and division and slander and gossip and things like that. And so we ask the hard question, you know, if you look in your past and you just see a trail of broken relationships, is it possible that I'm the common denominator and I need to do some reflection on my theology that's affecting my relationships? But like I said, over the years, I've had tons of conversations and been asked frequently, what if I see a lot of separated relationships? I see multiple church separations or divisions in my pastor, you know, loss of relationship here, but it's all been for the sake of the gospel. And what they're getting at every single time is it possible that I am the common denominator, but can that ever be a good thing? And to that, let me encourage you. And every time I've talked to people like this, I've been able to say, yes, I think that's possible. And I think that is a good thing. And so if you're wondering that, yes, it is possible that we are the common denominator in relationships ending, or relationships, and not even just individual relationships, but maybe relationships with a whole church, a whole body of believers. It is possible that we are the common denominator, but in a good way. Jesus said, I did not come to bring unity, but division. He says, if anyone will not forsake mother, father, brother, sister to follow me, he cannot be my disciple. Jesus numerous times talks about being his disciple truly will lead to division. So the question must be for us then is, okay, if I'm evaluating, am I the bad common denominator or the good common denominator? Is why did these relationships end? Why did this relationship with that church body end? Why did this friendship end, etc.? And if it's because, well, I was causing division and friction and envy and slander and gossip and malicious nature, okay, well, then that's problematic, like Paul lays out. But if it's because I was unwilling to compromise the truth of the gospel, because I was unwilling to compromise following Christ and looking like Christ. And so as far as it depended on me, I was trying to live at peace with them. But because I would not give up Jesus and his call on my life, the relationship ended. I would say that's a good thing. Which then raises a second follow-up question to that is, okay, but even within that, am I still behaving appropriately? And so I might be ending the relationship with this church for a good reason. I might be ending this relationship with a friend for a good reason, but in ending the relationship, in separating and moving on, am I still doing it in a Christ-like manner? Am I still doing it with righteousness and gentleness and kindness and love for the other person or the other peoples? And so even if we are right in dividing and ending a relationship, that does not give us the right to be a jerk about it or to abandon Christ-likeness in that. And so I thought that's a great conversation I've had over the years numerous times. And you know what? Maybe there's somebody wondering that even after this most recent sermon. So we wanted to give that as a sidecar. Hopefully this was a blessing and encouragement and a challenge. If you'd like to talk about it further, please reach out. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.